I saw his number ringing on my phone and my heart just immediately sunk because I knew exactly. I was like, why would he be calling me? Why else would he be calling me? So I was on season 2, right? So I watched the first season with Poe and Julie and, of course, the judges at the time, and just thought that it looked like a heap of fun. So it wasn't so much like, as a 20-year-old, you don't tend to think the rest of your life and you don't think 5-year plans and that sort of stuff. You just go, what am I doing next week? Saw the application come up. I loved watching the first series of the show. And I was like, that just looks like an absolute whale of a time. I'd love to throw my hat in the ring and just have some fun. So I went in with very low expectations, assuming I'd get kicked out in the first week. And that was kind of, going to be my little adventure while I was on uni holidays. And then obviously it just kept going further and further, and here we are. I still actually ended up doing an exam from MasterChef, like from filming in Sydney at the time. Because it was sort of, for me, it was inevitable that I would get eliminated. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, it's just a matter of time, so I'll push it out as long as I can. And I guess I didn't want to defer uni or quit uni or anything like that too soon, because it can backfire as well, right? There was a guy who was on my season of the show, his name's Devon, and he was supposed to get married during the filming process. And so he effectively postponed his wedding, put his wedding on hold. Unfortunately, he was the first person to get eliminated. And so he did all this work to postpone his wedding. And then he's like, oh, well, if I'd known that, he could have just had it when I was supposed to have it. It was literally probably a couple of months into filming the show where I actually got to the point where I was like, oh, I should probably contact the uni and tell them I'm not coming back. It's a long time ago now for me. So I'm trying to wrap my head around it, because now I'm very naturally comfortable with cameras and media and film crews and that sort of stuff. But for me, the biggest challenge was not so much the cooking. It was that perceived pressure of there being, 7 cameramen watching when you're trying to temper chocolate or whatever it might be. That pressure of not just the people in the room watching you, but you've just got whirring away in the back of your head. There's going to be 1.5 million people watching this at home when this goes to air. Don't stuff it up, don't stuff it up, don't stuff it up. It's kind of hard to get those mental demons out of your head, because you know that it is a popular primetime national TV show. So I think you end up putting a lot of pressure on yourself to perform in those moments. I think we've still got the record for the most watched TV show ever outside of sporting events like the Olympics and whatever. If you include regional, I think the finale I was in season 2, 5.5 million. So if you think about that, that's like 1 in 4 people in the country, right? Both Adam Liao and myself, we felt like absolute rock stars for the first little while after the show, because you just could not walk into any public space without people high-fiving you, wanting to shake your hand, wanting to have a photo with you, wanting you to sign a recipe card they found somewhere, whatever it might be. So it was pretty incredible. When you get thrust into it in that regard, it becomes very real very quickly. Like I remember there was a paparazzi who followed us around, both after the finale, and then as soon as we got back to Adelaide, driving around in the car after you. I felt like, you hear of these things that happen to, like, quote unquote real celebrities. And it was just a taste of what that lifestyle looks like, I guess. But it was, certainly a learning curve for me when I'd not done that much travel, or not sort of ventured outside my comfort zone that much up until that point in my life, to then be thrust into this extreme world where everyone feels like they know you was awesome, and I loved it, and I wouldn't change it. But it was certainly an intense experience. So I worked in Adelaide for a little bit straight after the show. I started this little macaron business at the time, selling sweets at the Adelaide Central Market, and then went back to Melbourne, because after the show, George Callum promised me that he'd have me in his restaurants for a period of time. So I went and worked in a number of his different restaurants over there for sort of 3 or 4 months. But after that, I just got a bit homesick, and my friends, my family, everyone was back here in South Australia, so I was keen to come back and start something here. So that's when I started Sprout, which is the cooking school which I'm sitting in right now. So we ran Sprout as the cooking school for a couple of years, just hiring out another existing kitchen. I think when we built this place, that was like a real moment of, wow, like, this is my business, this is my cooking school, like, this is something really to be proud of. So that probably moment stands out. And then I think opening both of our restaurants as well, like, day one, seeing real customers come into a restaurant that you put blood, sweat and tears into, is a pretty special feeling. I'll take you for a little walk, shall I? Can I take you for a walk? Over here at the back, we've got where we kind of do all the cooking, and then show everyone how it's done. And then normally there's TVs are on, there's up sort of connected cameras showing people what's going on. And then everyone's got their own bench back here, and there's all equipment, and your own stovetop, and there's a whole pile of ovens and equipment over here, and all sorts of stuff. sort of hard to see the space from where you are. But yeah, it's massive. So we there's about 30 odd people in the moment doing a class. But yeah, we can do sort of quite big classes as well. So we can, go end up having a handful of people in here for something really intimate, or we can have like 60 or 80 people in here doing cooking classes as well. So it's really cool. It's awesome, and I love every second of it. And it is a bit different, I guess. Like I love the restaurants, but being able to teach a cooking class and actually being able to see someone have that aha moment where they sort of learn a new skill or try a dish that they've made and go, wow, that's actually really delicious. Those kind of little moments are very cool, because that's what you can lose a little bit in a restaurant, right? If you're not speaking directly with the guests, you can lose that personal interaction, because that's what makes me love food. Not just is something delicious or not, but the way that it inspires people or brings them together from in a social context is, I think, why we all love food so much. It's how it becomes part of our life, not just what's on the plate. So the executive producer of the show gave me a call. His name's Marty, and I saw his number ringing on my phone, and my heart just immediately sunk, because I knew exactly. I was like, why would he be calling me? Why else would he be calling me? You know what I mean? So I knew exactly what the phone call was going to be, and so I felt really nervous about going back to do the show. I guess the first time around I was nervous because of the camera crews and that, perceived pressure and that kind of thing that I mentioned earlier. But from a cooking perspective, I was like, I got nothing to lose. I'll just give it a whirl. Whereas I guess this time around, I wasn't concerned about the media side of it. I was concerned about the food, and not because I didn't think I'm a good cook. And obviously I do this for a living now, because I've got the restaurants and the cooking school and the catering business. There's a bit more on the line. Like I was kind of thinking, if I cook a dish and the judges say this is terrible, then it reflects really poorly on my businesses, right? So you want to go on there because maybe it might get people to come into your restaurant, but it also might make people not want to come to your restaurant as well. And so I guess that I just really wanted to perform and just make sure that that I wasn't doing myself a disservice by going back on and competing again. Once I got into the swing of things, and you kind of actually get in, out of your head, and you get into the mode of cooking, and I was like, well, I remember how to do this. This is all right. I can string this together, and end up finishing fourth in that season, only to Amelia, Laura, and Reynold, who I got a lot of respect for. They're all great cooks, and I go, well, if that's how this panned out, I reckon I'm pretty happy with that and pretty proud. I think for me, the thing that it's not one specific instance or something you can easily nail down, but I think for me, where I feel incredibly grateful to MasterChef was just how it changed me as a person. I used to hate public speaking. I was on the shyer side. I had my kind of core group of friends at university that I hang out with, that kind of thing. And I think that experience of not only competing on the show against other adults and having that pressure of a competition like that in the TV landscape, but also we all live together in one big house, right? Having that experience of like living with other adults who are older than me, I think it just forced me to grow up quite a lot, I think, over that period. It's a very different uni student mindset to then I feel like where I am now. And so I feel like I entered the start of season 2 and came out of season 2 a very different person in a good way. Yeah, I think it helped me grow up effectively. Yeah, I think trying to have a slightly more mature head on my shoulders has put me in a position now where I've got a life that, frankly, I'm really bloody happy with. We've got 2 restaurants now. I think that we'd love to at some stage have another one. It's once you've got a taste for it, it is good fun. So I think we'll continue to try and grow the business. I guess we just want to get good food in people's mouths and make people happy. And I guess if we can expand the business and make more people happy, then that's all I can ask. I guess what I've kind of learned along the way is that you can, it sounds a bit cheesy or a bit lame, but you can do anything that you set your mind to. For me, the concept of opening a restaurant just always seemed like too much of a big deal, or like, where do you even start? And I think it's sort of, the show gave me that confidence to kind of go, well, I don't know, someone else had to figure this out. I'll just start small, and you just ask some questions and start Googling around things, and all of a sudden one thing leads to another, and you can go a long way. So if you have that belief in yourself, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time kind of attitude, then I think you can do almost anything you set your mind to. One of the things I love about MasterChef is seeing how many people, because there's so many people that come to the show that have a dream or a vision of what they want to do. And how many people have actually been able to follow on and do that is incredible. And it's not just by getting you 15 minutes of fame by being on a reality TV show, but these people have gone and grafted away to, whether it's Marion, who's on my season, who has her like product line in Coles and Woolies now, absolutely killing it, or Adam Liao with his TV shows, or people like Sashi or Laura Sharrod here in Adelaide, who have got their respective restaurants as well. The show has changed so many people's lives that even as one of those people myself, it gives me the warm fuzzies to see how it's changed other people's lives as well.